Hey guys, today we are going to learn about the art of the Kuna Indians in Panama, and we are going to try and make a Molas panel. So the Kuna Indian have a very distinct and beautiful style that they use for their molas. So a mola means clothing or fabric, and it's layers of different colors of cloth that are sewn together. Then lines will be cut in the cloth, and then it'll be folded back and sewn to expose the different colors beneath. So they're usually sewn in two panels that are decorated with these beautiful designs and then sewn onto their blouses. So a Molas design usually uses really bright colors with high contrast and lots of outlines. And there's a lot of geometric shapes, especially lines and triangles. But the most important thing about their designs is that there is no empty space. So the designs are usually of plants and animals, scenes from life and events, lots of fish since they live along the coast and on islands. And traditionally, before cloth was introduced, the Kuna would paint these designs on their skin. And we are going to go old school and do some painting as well. So the first thing we need to do is figure out what our design is going to be. So I've been obsessed with science documentaries about space and astronomy, so I made a design to commemorate space travel. So I sketched it out in pencil and then went over it in a Sharpie so that it was dark enough to then trace onto my canvas. So I just used some Quilter's Disappearing Ink, and you can just use a pencil, a pen, you're painting over it, so anything will work. Okay, so now we are ready to get started painting. So I picked out my colors. I tried to go with just bright colors that would complement each other well. They're kind of the same tones with some darker ones to provide some nice contrast. So I used just masking tape to tape this down. I've got my paintbrushes and water, and let's get started. So as I'm going over this, I'm going to do all of the inside stuff first so that I can do the outlines afterwards and kind of clean up the edges rather than try and color inside the lines first. So as you can see, we're making progress. In order to fill in all of the space, what I did was I just made some kind of geometric shapes, and it's kind of the idea of like a spiral, but just with sharp edges. And some other things that you can do to fill in those spaces are rows of vertical lines of all different colors. I've seen a lot of circles with black dots in the middle, putting jagged teeth around the edges of things, even just like X's of different colors. Really works well to just fill in all that extra space. So for these lines, what I'm doing is I'm just outlining them in this teal, and then I'm going to go through and add a thin black line into the middle so that it looks like there's stacks of layers, and then I'll fill in everything else around it with a navy blue, so it gets a nice stark contrast between the dark blue sky with this bright teal geometric shapes. So we're using acrylic paint, which dries very quickly, which is nice because that means we can layer the colors on top of each other. So it'll be very difficult to try and do my V pattern and then fill in the black around it. So I decided to do the whole thing black, and then I'll do the V's once it dries in various colors. And here we have our finished design. Okay, so now we can take our tape off, and the tape actually gives us a really nice edge and a border around our work. And there we go, we did it. So this is a Molas design, or our best attempts at one. So we tried to do some geometric shapes and have a unity of shapes across the whole piece to create just some balance with it so that it ties it all together. And we tried to do lots of outlines and strong vertical lines. And there we go.